Hi, it's Carly McAvoy. Today we're talking about problem solving and first starting off just translating problems into equations. So in the first one I have 5 less than 3 3 times a number is 25. Where you see the is your equal sign. So when I work this problem, I'm going to think of my equal sign here, and then I have 25 on the right, and on the left I have 5 less than 3 times a number. So this is a common mistake for people to get confused. What goes first? The 5 was said first, but it says it's 5 less than that. So I want to do 3 times a number. You can use whatever variable you want, and then 5 less than that. And then if I add 5 to both sides, I get 3n equals 30, and dividing both sides by 3, oops, not the n, I get n equals 10. And now I can check that by going back and saying 3 times 10 minus 5 should be 25, and that's 30 minus 5, or 25 does equal 25, so that's true. So always you can check by plugging back in if you've written the correct equation, but of course you have to write the correct equation first for that to be useful. Okay, number 2 says 14 is equal to 6 more than 1/3 of a number. So here's our is equal to sign, and on the left of that we have 14, and over here we have 6 more than 1/3 of a number. When you're adding, it doesn't make as much difference what you put first, but I'm going to just write it the way that technically it should be written. We have 1/3 of a number, and we have 6 more than that. Now, when you do 1/3 of a number, you could do it this way, some number divided by 3, right? That's another way to write the same thing. I'm going to solve this by subtracting 6 from both sides. That gives me 8 equals 1/3 x. And because I have a coefficient, that's a variable, I'm going to divide both sides by 1/3, or in this case, the coefficient, excuse me, that's a fraction. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of 1/3 is 3 over 1, and I'm going to do that to both sides. Notice that these 3's will just cancel, and so I get 1x, which is what I want, and 3 times 8 is 24. I can check that by saying 14 equals 24 times 1/3 plus 6. And 1/3 of 24 is 8, so that 14 equals 8 plus 6, or 14 equals 14. That's the check. Let me go back and put the answer in a box, because the check isn't your answer. Your answer is what does that variable equal. Okay, number 3, the product of 3 and the sum of a number and 7 is 9 less than twice a number. Well, that's a mouthful, and I'm looking for the is to figure out where my equal sign is, and it's right here. Everything before that's on the left side, and after that's on the right side. So I have a product of, so I'm multiplying two things. And the first thing I'm multiplying is a 3, and the second thing I'm multiplying is a sum. So I'm going to have something like this, where I'm multiplying 3 times a sum. And the sum is a number and 7, so I'm going to say y plus 7. And now I'm going to jump over the equal sign and do the other side, 9 less than twice a number. And that goes back to, again, if I'm taking 9 less than something, I have to have that something first. So twice a number, I'm using the same variable, make sure that you do that. And then 9 less than that would be minus 9. Solving this, we get 3y plus 21 is 2y minus 9. I can subtract 2y from both sides and just get y, and then subtract 21 from both sides and get y equals negative 30. I can always check my math when I'm doing equations by plugging in to the original equation. Where I used to have a y, I would then put in the negative 30. Negative 30 plus 7 is negative 23. 2 times negative 30 is negative 60. And then 3 times negative 23 is negative 69. And negative 60 minus 9 is negative 69. So that checks out. And so you have another answer that looks correct to me. And the last one on this video is the quotient of a number and 2 is equal to the product of -3 and the difference of twice a number. That is a handful there. So I'm going to look for the is equal to. There's my equal sign. So I know everything left of that is on the left side and everything to the right of that is on the right side. So the quotient of a number is a division, and when we write division, we want to use that fraction bar. So the quotient of a number and 2, whatever is stated first is on the top. So I'm going to say n over 2. That's the quotient of a number and 2. On the other side, the product of, so we're back to doing something like we did before. This time we have -3 and a difference, so we're subtracting because we have a difference in there, and the difference is twice a number and 1. Whatever is stated first comes first, and so it looks like that. So now I have n over 2. You can get rid of your fraction in that first step or not. I'm going to leave it in for now. -3 times 2n is -6n, and then -3 times -1 is +3. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything by 2. I have 3 different terms here, so I have to multiply everything by 2. I just want to get rid of the 2 over there. So I have n equals -6 times 2 is -12, and 3 times 2 is 6. Now I can add 12 into both sides. This video is not really about solving equations, but if you're a little bit weak on that, after you see me set things up as we do these word problems, try these equations to solve them by yourself and see how you do. This is 1n and 12n, which is 13n, and dividing both sides by 13, I get n equals 6/13. That's kind of a pain to check, but we don't want to shy away from that, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have 2, and then I have 6/13 minus 1. Well, 6/13, this is 6/13 divided by 2. So when I divide by 2, I'm going to actually multiply by 2. And so you can see this is like 2 over 1, right? So I'm going to actually multiply by 1 over 2, sorry. And that gives me 3 over 13. Okay, that's that side. Now the other side, I'm going to just leave this -3 out here for a second. I have 12/13. That is 2 times 6 minus 1, which is actually 13/13, right? And so I have 12 minus 13, or -1/13. And if you don't want to do these out by hand, then put them in a calculator. There's no problem with that. And then when I multiply this, negative times negative gives me a positive. 1 times 3 is 3, and I get 13. So it all worked out, was nicely perfect. All right, that's the end of this video, and we'll do more as problem solving in the next video.